Simply going through the motions, getting your 4-year degree, and graduating from college is not enough to guarantee you a job in the tech field. From the time we were all young, us college students have been sold this lie that if we just get good grades and trust the process, then we'll magically fly away to tech job paradise where we get free coffee, free massages, and 6-figure salaries fresh from the graduation stage. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here today to tell you that I think this is absolute bullshit. You see, my hypothesis is that we as tech majors need to find a way to differentiate ourselves from the crowd if we actually want to get a good job after graduation. After all, there's thousands of other tech majors out there who get good grades. We need to find an X factor, something that sets us apart. I believe that I found a great X factor that any tech major can use to differentiate themselves from the crowd, and I have personally used this in my interviews and resumes, and it helped me land 3 separate job offers for data analytics internships. What is this magical X factor, you may ask? Well, it's hackathons. I want to begin this video with my personal experience with hackathons. Back in October, I attended the JPMorgan Chase Data for Good Hackathon in Columbus, Ohio, and it changed my life. Well, maybe not changed my life, but I think it definitely changed my career trajectory. I remember having to hop in my car at 7 a.m., drive 3 hours to the spot, and when I walked in the room, there was dozens of kids everywhere, speaking animatedly. There was a bunch of kids in a corner typing, looking like they were already starting coding. There were professionals milling about networking. Safe to say, I was pretty intimidated the moment I walked in. After a bit of time though, they split us off into teams and we actually started our hackathon. And let me tell you, that's where the real learning began. I thought I knew how tech projects worked, but it completely destroyed my expectations. In the classroom, all my projects were directed with clear guidelines, the data was delivered to me in clean CSV formats, and I knew exactly what I needed to do to solve the problem. This was not the case in the hackathon, which was much more open-ended and more representative of real-life problems. Instead, I had to figure out how to communicate my ideas to my team, collaborate on code, and actually build a solution that would solve the problem at hand. In between the actual coding, I got to network with JPMorgan and Chase data scientists and software engineers to actually learn more about the industry. But let me tell you, surprisingly, the best part of the hackathon was the food. I guess there's only so many ways you can make coding for 24 hours straight fun, so they had to take care of that part to make us all happy. Because let me tell you, the mini tacos there, chef's kiss. After the 24 hours, the hackathon concluded, and while I didn't win, I now had experience and I was ready to milk the hell out of it. I want to explain my hypothesis of how hackathons can work for you. Every year there's 79,000 computer science graduates from universities in America. I guarantee you a good bit of those students have good grades and trusted the process. So I figured I needed a good differentiator to set myself apart from the pack. I can still recall my inner monologue giving me excuses. But Jake, you have professor recommendations. But Jake, you have really good grades. I had to tune out those voices and decide that I was actually going to do something unique and cool to show to employers. During my initial search for data analytics and data science internships, I learned that companies want hands-on experience and demonstrated initiative within the field. During that time, before I attended the hackathon, while I got interviews, I had exactly 0 data analytics or data science internship offers. Once I attended the hackathon and decided that I could highlight it as my unique experience and my unique differentiator, I immediately improved my interviews and ended up with multiple job offers. I believe that me attending this hackathon was the key turning point in my hunt for jobs. But hackathons don't just set you apart for job offers though. They actually teach you lots of valuable skills that you cannot learn in a classroom. The first is communication. As tech majors, we worry a lot about the technical side of things and actually solving problems, and we forget sometimes how important communication actually is as a soft skill. For the first 10 minutes at Hackathon, I spent 10 minutes trying to explain my ideas on data cleaning to my team, and I realized that I was 1, completely inept at the skill, but 2, how important it was to actually function within a team. Hackathons go a long way in developing the skill of communication, but they also help you with the actual technical collaboration. Now I'm sure for computer science majors, you're well versed in GitHub and version control, but for us data science majors, we don't really worry about GitHub as much. So actually learning how to use versioning control and pushing things to repositories and pulling things within Git was a valuable learning experience. Also, just being able to give a presentation on what you did and communicate value to stakeholders is a very practical real-life skill that they don't teach you in the classroom. Also, if you network with the professionals there, you can pick up some key lingo and terminology from the industry. I know when I first entered data science, it felt like I was speaking to Martians whenever I approached a professional. But after having enough conversations with them, I started to pick up the keywords and phrases that I needed to know, and then in turn I was able to use those same keywords and phrases in interviews, which I know made me seem way smarter than I actually was. So you may be wondering, well Jake, this all sounds good, but how do I find a hackathon? Like, how do I even enter one? I'll tell you from my experience that I found the opportunity through Handshake, which is a popular job searching platform for college students. I personally had to submit an application, do a virtual interview, and do a coding challenge, but I'm sure the requirements will vary between different hackathons. I think the best way to find hackathon opportunities is to use your university's resources. Ask your advisor or the dean of your school if they know of any opportunities present. Otherwise, Google's your best friend. There's hackathons being put on all the time, and if you just Google hackathon opportunities in my area, I guarantee you'll find one within the next year that you can attend. Some general tips I can recommend to you if you do attend a hackathon. The first is to bond with your team as soon as possible. You're going to be spending 24 hours with these people, and it's not going to be a pleasant experience if you don't know them and you don't like them. So take some time to actually get to know them. Ask them questions about where they're from and what they like, and it'll make the entire experience much more pleasant. The second tip is to have fun with it. After all, even though it is a learning experience, the point is to have fun, and by having fun, you'll actually probably do better in the competition because you'll be more fired up and engaged. And my third piece of advice is to document it as much as you can. Take pictures, network, do everything you can to record the actual process because you want proof that you were there so then you can milk it later on in the job hunt. So don't forget, take pictures. After I attended the hackathon, I pasted that bold front and center on my resume, and immediately I got more interest from employers. I also brought it up in interviews. Hackathons are a great way to answer behavioral questions. You know, the common interview questions you get like, tell me a time you worked on a team, or tell me a time you faced a challenge and failed. Hackathons provide a great answer to all these questions and show not only are you experienced, but also you're interested in the field. I also put the hackathon experience on my LinkedIn and my Handshake, and I recommend that if you get access to your GitHub repository and the actual code you did during the hackathon, to put it in a repository on there so you can show employers what you actually did. Immediately following my hackathon experience, I found my success rate in interviews absolutely skyrocket. I ended up receiving 3 data analytics internships offers and accepted a full-time position as a data engineering intern at Travelers Insurance this summer. While I can't guarantee success for everyone, I truly believe that the hackathon was the X factor that helped me land these offers, and I think it's a very underutilized opportunity for us tech students. You see, the job market today isn't what it used to be. Unfortunately, we are not the boomer generation. But even with the cards stacked against us in many ways, finding key differentiators and X factors that can set us apart from the crowd, I think is vital to the job searching process. I hope my experience today provided you some perspective or maybe some ideas on how you can set yourself apart, or have inspired you to attend a hackathon in your area. If you enjoyed watching this video, I recommend you check out my other videos about data science and college lifestyle in general. I talk a lot about this sort of stuff, so thanks for watching. See you around.